Hello, today we're going to continue talking about quadratic functions. We're going to focus on factoring. So I'm going to do this a little bit quickly because we have factored a couple times this semester, but the first thing I want you to do on every single one of these problems is to make sure we don't have a GCF. So I'm going to check that every single time. Now this first one, no GCF. This one is simple AC factoring. I can recognize that because there are three terms and the coefficient on the squared term is a 1. So we're just going to say what multiplies to give me a positive 30 and adds to give me a negative 11. When I do that, I get negative 5 and negative 6. We're going to go ahead and put those two things in parentheses. That's it. Done. You want to check to make sure those parentheses can't be factored any further, which they can't. Okay, number 2. There's no GCF. However, this one leads with a 2. So I need to do our longer method of AC factoring, sometimes called AC method, sometimes called rainbow method. We're going to multiply our A times our C, which is 6. We're still going to look and we're going to say what multiplies to give me a positive 6 and adds to give me a positive 1. Now in this one, there is nothing. 1 and 6, 2 and 3, negative 1, negative 6, negative 2, negative 3. None of it's going to multiply to give me a positive 6 and add to give me a positive 1. So in this one, we would just write not factorable. Okay, let's go ahead and try the next two problems. Number 3, we can take a look and see if there's anything that we can factor out, but there isn't. Now, hopefully, you can recognize that the first term and the last term are perfect squares. If you can recognize that, that means I can square root both of those. We know that we are going to have 3x minus 10 and 3x plus 10. We know we're going to square root the first term, square root the last term, put them in parentheses, one with a plus and one with a minus. Now, if you don't recognize that, we can go ahead and multiply 9 times 100 and go through the rainbow method like we did, well, like we were going to do in number 2, which we will do in a couple minutes here. Okay, let's go ahead and try number 4. Number 4, there is a GCF. I can take a 4 out of everything, so that's my first step. I'm going to take a 4 out of everything. Now when I do that, I have the longer AC method. So this is what we could have done in number 3. I'm going to multiply 3 times negative 6, which is negative 18. I'm going to say what multiplies to give me negative 18 but adds to give me negative 7. That would be negative 9 and 2. Now I'm going to rewrite my middle term. I'm using this to rewrite negative 7x. So I'm going to leave the 4, I'm going to leave the 3x squared, and I'm going to leave the negative 6. But this is now going to become this. So negative 9x plus 2x. Now we're going to look at the first two terms and we're going to say what's the greatest common factor I can divide out. I can divide out a 3 and an x. When I do that, I'm left with x minus 3. Now I'm going to look at these two terms. What's the greatest common factor I can divide out? That would be a 2. I'm left with x minus 3. You will know at this point if you did something wrong. These parentheses need to match. So I'm going to rewrite my 4. I'm going to pull out these parentheses, so I get x minus 3, and then I'm going to write my leftovers. I'm left with a 3x plus 2. This is your final answer. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and look at the next problem. This problem, we can factor out a 3. I'm going to take a 3 out. I'm left with x squared minus 8. Now, normally when this happens, usually you'll be left with perfect squares. You will be left, excuse me, with perfect squares. So we would square root each of these and factor by difference of squares. Now, I can't do that. 8 is not a perfect square. So believe it or not, this is all I can do, and this is my answer. That was just a GCF problem. Now, we're going to do the rainbow method one more time. I'm going to take a 2 out. You're left with 4x squared plus 19x. That 19 does not look like a 19. Minus 5. Now we're going to multiply. 4 times negative 5 is negative 20. What multiplies to give me negative 20 and adds to give me positive 19 would be 20 and negative 1. I'm going to go ahead and rewrite my middle term. I'm going to write it using my new factors I just found. Now I'm going to factor by GCF. Look at these two. What can I factor out of those? I can factor out a 4 and an x. What can I factor out of these? If it leads with a negative, remember I want you factoring out a negative. So you can take out a -1, which would change the sign of both, which is good because I want these parentheses to match. So I have my 2, I have my x plus 5, and I have my 4x minus 1. This is my final answer. Okay, let's go ahead and try the next two. Number 7, I can take out a GCF. Take out a GCF of 2, so I'll have 16x squared minus 1. Now these are perfect squares, and it's a subtraction sign, so I could factor by difference of squares. When I do that, I square root the first term. I write it twice. And I square root the second term, which is 1. 1 gets a plus, and 1 gets a minus. And I have my 2 on the outside. Now this reminds me, I made a mistake up on number 3. Number 3, we need to go back to that one really quickly. Number 3, I said that the answer was 3x minus 10 and 3x plus 10. I don't know what I was thinking. That would be a difference of squares. That would make our middle term cancel out. We have a middle term. We actually keep the sign that's in the middle. So I'm sorry. Please go back and fix that. Your answer is 3x minus 10 times 3x minus 10. Your book would actually write your answer like this, 3x minus 10 squared. I will accept this, though, as answer. I apologize. So if you could please go back and fix that. Okay, back to number 8. Number 8, it leads with a negative. We don't want to have a negative on our x squared term. So I'm going to factor out a negative, but I can also see that I could factor out a -4. So when I do that, I have 2x squared minus 7x plus 15. Now this is all I can do, because if I take 2 times 15, I get 30. There's nothing that multiplies to give me a positive 30 and adds to give me a -7. So I stop here. I only had a GCF. Now I definitely want you to try these two U-try problems on your own. One of them you are going to use the longer AC method or the rainbow method like we did in number 4 and number 6. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, go ahead, write it on the bottom of the paper, and I'll see you tomorrow.